Hey, happy day. So, excuse me, sometimes I truly do feel like I'm insane, and I love breaking up words, and being insane means being inside the saneness so much that one sees past illusions, and to a degree where, for example, I am aware of how delusional I am, meaning when I got into the world as I am, I live in my own bubble, and I am whoever I want to be at any given time, and I do what I can with liberty. I challenge the boundaries of liberty, but within the civil framework, meaning I don't give any fucks, but I don't do any harm as I go. And it leads me, I have for many conscious moments in the last particularly 5 years had a sense of being on a Christos journey, a Christ experience, a Jesus awakening within myself, meaning I have been aware of many moments where what I'm experiencing is stuff I remember hearing about and learning about in the Bible when I was growing up and going to church, and when I was a teenager and very involved in Christian Union. And it's probably where many of my religious references are stemming from. I'm deeply rooted in the Christian framework just from how I was conditioned and what I was subjected to. And I always made choices based on my spiritual relationship with whatever higher being there is, and my experience of, I guess, what would be termed the Holy Ghost or energy, and a sense of all being and a connectedness to another otherly realm, a demigod, and a higher realm, a source point. And I am just an ambassador, a God spark, a filament in the whole operation, and how I operate, a bit like the cells in the body. I'm just one cell of some larger organism. Whatever organ I'm part of is Earth, and whatever system I'm part of would be our immediate universe, and then the being would be the cosmos, I guess. And so I get to choose whether I serve that organ and that system and that being in a loving way. So am I cancerous? Am I subjective to being cancerous, or am I resilient and healthy? And do I function optimally and prime to contribute to the best condition of the operating of the organ and the system as a cog, and then serve that being? And that being, if I am putting good in, then surely that being feels good and does good. So do you understand, as above so below, and the concept of what and who you are truly matters. So the Eight of Cups, so that's the infinity symbol, and cups is our heart symbol. And I just saw 0505 and then 0508. So, you know, there's so much to say about this card, and there's so much to say always about everything. And basically, we're being asked to walk away from my first impression of this card was we can swim in the waters, but the idea is that unless you can walk on water, which most of us don't seem to be able to do, then perhaps it's better to turn our backs to the lake, even if we were trying to get back the flame and the cup. But instead, what we do is we walk towards the source of all fire and flame. So that's the immediate response to this card, other than there's so much I could say more about this. I just keep seeing things, and that's how I'm experiencing life. And the destiny card is, so both destiny cards were nines. One is the passion and sex suit. So what gets you revving, what gets you excited, what gets your passions and your desires aflame. And then the other one is the work suit. So how does one express oneself? And nine is about completion and closure. We enjoy clarity with regards to what we want. Preparing to live life to the full, tying up loose ends and getting our house in order, resolving old issues in order to move on with strength and confidence. Knowing who the fuck you are allows you to be in your full strength and allows you to be confident, because you can operate from your midpoint of the divine will matching your personal will. So meeting your needs ultimately should meet the needs of the greater whole. It's Ubuntu, and it's love. True sense of love is not self-serving, and it's not sacrificial. It's the balance between generosity of spirit and energy and time and space, and contributing to the whole, knowing that that's creating a safe, stable foundation, which is what 2022 has been about. What are we birthing? And how have we been showing up for ourselves and through that for others? And could we be showing up in more ways? And again, it's just a bit of consideration. And consideration is kindness, it's compassion, it's empathy, it's being able to understand what someone else's experience is like, and wanting to, instead of letting them sleep on the cold, hard, freezing floor with a mat and a blanket, whilst you and your mate sleep either side on a padded mattress with duvets and sleeping bags very comfortably. How do you sleep with that suffering happening right there between you, and allow it to continue without doing anything? And yes, it's unacceptable that people allow suffering. And the image that comes to mind is, how many heads did you use as stepping stones to get where you are now? And those people that you trod on, that you used to get ahead, where are they now? Did they sink beneath the surface of this lake? And did they drown? Are they drowning whilst you just carried on towards your dream? So, we're being asked to really light that flame of if you understand how you are everything, you also understand how you are nothing. And most people live very unconsciously, and so to live consciously, I see a web, but it's also not a web. It's one of those beautiful lace, jeweled lace masks. So we're looking at life through this lacy mask, and we think when people look at us, they're seeing this beautiful thing, but yet we're actually kind of hiding. And it's a bit like a cobweb. So remove the web from your eyes, and you do that by inflaming your insight, that inner mind's eye. And there's this message about apathy, and apathy means you can't be bothered. And that's really lame, literally lame. It's like not being able to use all your abilities, all your functionalities that you have. So the image that's coming to mind is one where you have two guys walking on either side of a chasm, and there's a guy in the middle with no legs, and he's got an arm around each of these people, and so three of them to able to move forward. If he couldn't put his arms around those people and support them, he would fall in and they would keep walking, a bit like being left on the hard, cold, frozen floor, which I keep thinking is like the Five of Pentacles, being literally left out in the cold. It's like the Five of Pentacles is it shows the stained glass window of a church, and it's bright inside. You can see it's warm and glowing, and there are two people on the outside that are in the freezing snow and are very incapacitated by injuries and traumas and suffering and wounds, and they are cold, and so cold where they're in a trauma state, and so they shut down. They can't problem solve, and they can't figure out how to get in the church. They don't even know if they're welcome. If they go in, they will make it dirty or wet, and will that be welcomed by all the praisers that are busy singing and celebrating inside and dressed beautifully and warmly and in their finest outfits? Because we really shouldn't, we have to go to church dressed in a certain way, behave in a certain way, to be a part of the congregation and a sheeple. So it's going back to this Christ consciousness experience. I have felt that I've had conscious experience of bearing, the cross, of being denied by Peter, and the cock crowing 3 times, being denied by Peter. I've had the Judas experience. I felt like I was crucified and forsaken, and I surrendered and I surrendered and I surrendered, and there was a resurrection. And I had the message of, Jesus, first part of his life, he traveled around a lot, and I resonated with that, having traveled around a lot. And then, yes, again, just being birthed as a bastard, and just so many key touch points that I resonated with, of having an experience that aligned with that Christos experience. And recently I had messages about Jesus going into the temple and the money lenders, and having an issue with that. And I've had the experience many times of, I like to leave things better than I found them, and I like to add value wherever I go. And so I like to leave things just an imprint of my soul rather than an imprint of my foot. And I think I'm doing that, and it really is my intent. But I find I get trodden on a lot. When you a good person, you do attract a lot of people who want to take advantage, and even good people don't realize they're doing it, because if you're doing something selfish, you don't even, selfless, I don't even realize sometimes how selfless I'm being. And I don't want to say it's to my own detriment, because I'm blessed to magnificent degrees. And so, but what I do experience is that, can't people take their blinkers off to what's going on? And for example, I've got so many. So for example, within the last 3 months, someone wanted to invest in my business, and I said, oh, I'd love that, thank you. I'd like to think about it and let you know where and how. And there were 2 instances where it was possible, and I communicated that, and I didn't really get any response or feedback or support, and it literally fell on deaf ears. And literally right recently, said individual needed my help in an emergency situation, and I was able to do that. And they, it's been like that over and over and over in the past, recent future, past. I have been supporting someone for many years, gifting them time, energy, my counseling experience, and they read it as a friendship, which was the only, well, it had to be that way, because otherwise they would not have been able to do the healing work they were able to do. However, when I asked them to be present to me, they shut me down. And it's just, there's stories after stories after stories. And it's not about me, it's about everybody having their own experience. The thing is that I'm feeling left out in the cold and dark, and I know many people are, and it's often the people who are giving the most and most selflessly, because we don't know we're doing it, and we need others to say, hey, stop, or hey, I'm going to feed back to you in a way that I know will benefit you. Anyway, I feel like there are all these contradictions in the life I live, where again I live my own delusion, but my delusion is I don't live in a debt system. I have a buffer. I don't lean on anybody. In fact, I pick up a lot of flack. Just pick up expenses here or there for everyone, and people have dropped the balls, and I've picked them up, and I'm at a point where I want to drop the ball, and I think I'm going to. And yeah, I'm scared, because I feel responsible for all those balls I'm carrying, all those flames that I've been trying to keep burning in a watery sea. I'm going to walk away. If they sink, they sink. But I'm going to go here. Like this red record button, I can switch it on and off whenever I want. And what I'm putting out is, I'm not in control. All I can do is put out. And 3 words jump to mind: closure. And it's like, be sure, just be sure of what you want. And then the other word was resolve. You need to find a resolution, but it takes resolve to do so. So you have to resolve. And that's what we're doing. That's what 9 talks about. And that's what the busy bee talks about, is being active in being solutions driven. And then the other one was, gosh, now I can't remember. But one thing that's come up again is protection and know thyself. Again, there are just so many messages. As an intuitive, I can find it incredibly overwhelming because there are so many signs and symbols and messages that filter in constantly. And the less I'm involved in other people and their dramas, because I don't have any drama, none. All the drama I experience in life has to do when my life interacts with other people. I'm calm. I'm the center of the storm. And I find there's often a storm around me, and it feeds into or detracts me. It pulls me into the illusion rather than into my own delusion. So I don't even know what this message is about, if I'm honest. I am feeling like I have so much compartmentalization going on, so much cognitive dissonance going on. I just know that, and I hear these messages, and if you resonate, if the so the ego is saying, but what if, but I want, and we're being asked to just let go, and the layers of surrender and succumbing are an abyss. They're like onion. You keep thinking, I'm releasing, I'm letting go, but what change as it shifts, I find it's, again, we're moving from being in this watery depth more onto terra firma, onto solid ground, as anima, and walking towards that source of the light rather than trying to maintain little filaments of light. We need to, as we walk towards it, I'm seeing, if you went to the sun, you would just burst into flames, but that would just make you another component of the cosmos and the greater whole and the infinite. So at 22, 11, and 12, and 13, and 14, Namaste in Lakesh. Happy day.